These neo-Nazis, Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler. They don't want a Palestinian state. They want to destroy the Jewish state. They want to annihilate the Jewish people who've been in the land of Israel for 3,500 years. I could never understand how this simple truth evades the leaders of France, Britain, Canada, and others. They're now proposing to establish a Palestinian state and reward these murderers with the ultimate prize. Well, for 18 years, we had a de facto Palestinian state. It's called Gaza. And what did we get? Peace? No. We got the most savage slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. You won't be surprised to learn that Hamas thanked President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer and Carney for demanding that Israel end its war in Gaza immediately. Hamas was right to thank them, because by issuing their demand, replete with a threat of sanctions against Israel, not Hamas, these three leaders effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. They want Israel to stand down and accept that Hamas's army of mass murderers will survive, rebuild, and repeat the October 7th massacre again and again and again, because that's what Hamas has vowed to do. I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney,
giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem HaRachakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So, for one, it's fair to say that nobody believes this person, nobody believes these Edomites anymore. That victim mentality is being washed away. Okay, people can now see these Edomites for who they are, which is, all praises to Yahweh Yahweh Shah for that, fulfilling his promise, as 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 talks about, that the man of sin be revealed, the man of iniquity, the son of perdition, that wicked man be revealed, is Esau Edom. And in particular, Amalek is the worst of Esau Edom. So they actually are the worst of the worst. However, they had a narrative of a lie over the face of the whole earth for quite some time to have them believe that they're actually the victims. But now, as this war drags on, as Yahweh Yahweh shall continue to frustrate their purpose, because their purpose is they want to try to take the birthright for themselves. And Gaza is just one of many lands in that area that they want to take, because when you go to the scriptures, the scripture tell you where our blessing is, as he told Abraham in Genesis 15 and 18. And in that same day, the Lord Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So that actual whole land over there, I don't have it pulled up, but you could pull up, you could just type in, let me do that. This isn't that clear, but you could just type in Abraham's inheritance land wise. So you see in the black there at the top, right above Iraq, it says the land river Euphrates. And if you look down on the left by Sudan, you see that Nile. So as it's written, all land between the Nile and Euphrates. So that's going to be ours when the inheritance is when the Lord comes back. And what they're trying to do is try to take it by force. But the Lord is frustrating their purpose. So in doing so, the things get dragged on. And as it drags on, that victim mentality, that victim narrative continues to be, washed away. Nobody's believing them anymore. Like, they have to make a mad stretch to try to act like they're victims. Oh, they want to free Palestine means the destruction of Israel. They want to repeat, and nobody's buying it anymore. Okay, it's not, nobody's buying it anymore. So they can scream and holler October 7th and change their birthday to October 7th as much as they want. It's not going to change the fact that everybody knows that you actually are the devil, and everything you're doing is not out of retaliation, but because of hate. And that's the point. The point is as much as they want to mention the Palestinians, okay, eventually they are going to have to mention Jacob. And we're talking about the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Eventually, it will be brought up because everything that's happening is for the sake of the Israelites. And when Jacob is mentioned, when the actual tribe of Judah is mentioned, and when the true seed of Jacob is mentioned, whether it's by a global leader or whatever the case is, when that discussion starts to happen, that's when you know things are going to start speeding up even faster, because these devils are going to get angry for the simple fact that they're mentioning Jacob. You know, and Jacob in this world, we're just like the offscouring. We're just, nobody's supposed to plead for us. Nobody's supposed to care about us. So when, you know, all that Palestinian, you see how they get mad they get when you talk about the Palestinians. Imagine when they actually talk about, when somebody brings up the topic of who the real Jews are and who the land really belongs to, because everything boils down to Jacob and Esau, everything. So Jacob and Esau is going to be mentioned. And once people start to call Esau out for being Esau, then the question is going to be, well, where's Jacob? And that's where the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American is going to get brought up. And that's what's going to fuel these people to come down even faster. I mean, harder and faster. As 2 Ezra 6 and 7 says, we read it all the time. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So when is the kingdom of heaven coming? When is all this going to be put to a stop so we can get to righteousness? And he said unto me, from Abraham to Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Another question Ezra asked thou not. So Jacob and Esau is what it all boils down to out of all the nations. Sure, Palestine is mentioned, which are the Ishmaelites. These other nations are mentioned. Russia is mentioned. All these nations are mentioned, but it all boils down to Jacob and Esau. So right now, right, they're talking about these Edomites. They're mentioning the Palestinians. They're mentioning the Islamic State. They're talking about land dividends, etc. But Jacob will be mentioned, because that's what this is all about. And when that happens, just know these devils are going to come down with much greater wrath, because that's the whole beauty of all this. This World War III is all for Israel's sake. This isn't just something that naturally occurred. All this is for the sake of Israel, the true Israelites. That's what this is all about. The dispute over the land, all of this is for the nation of Israel. So when we get mentioned, you're going to see these devils start to get mad and get angry simply because we aren't supposed to be a part of the conversation. Remember, everybody that has a UN, sit at the UN, nobody's talking about us. Nobody's pleading our cause. So when the Israelites are mentioned, it's going to have these Edomites, especially those Amalekites, infuriated, because the only people that's supposed to be talking about the Jews is them. You don't talk about the Negroes. Don't talk about them. What you talking about them for? But it's going to be brought up because this whole World War III is all based around Jacob and Esau. So eventually Jacob is going to have to be mentioned. And when you start talking about Esau, Jacob and Esau, somebody's got to be Esau and somebody's got to be Jacob. So who is it? You can't say that this the Palestinians, because their father is Ishmael. Isaiah 13 says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see, lift ye up a banner upon a high mountain, and exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. The banner is the truth. When we go out there and we teach that the true Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's threatening to the lives of the establishment of the world. Because the entire world is established upon lies. And the entire world is established upon the fact that, the reason those Amalekites, right, them Edomites over there, their entire existence is based upon a lie. And everything they're doing as far as killing and attacking is based upon the lie. And that lie is that, that they are God's chosen people. So everything they're doing can be traced back to biblical terms. So when someone else, when the truth comes out and say, actually, the true biblical Israelites are the Negroes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the actual true biblical Jews is the population what you call the Negro population. That is going to offset and upset everything they're doing. It's a lie. They cannot. It's a truth that they cannot allow to be a talking point in the mainstream media, which is why these Amalekites, they control the media and they work around the clock to censor the truth about Jacob and Esau to be brought out. But what if the Lord puts a spirit on one of these leaders, say like Putin, who knows that the Messiah is a so-called black man? If he knows that Yahweh Shai is a so-called black man, then he knows that Yahweh Shai from the tribe of Judah. So what if the Lord puts the spirit on the leader to say, you're really not the biblical Jews anyway? Just like that Egyptian president, Abdul Gamar Nasser. He said that the Jews left black and came back white, we would never accept you. And they try to bury that truth, but that quote is out there. Okay? What happens when that topic is brought up in the midst of one of the world leaders and they actually question, well, actually, you really are from the tribe of Amalek. You're really the Edomites. Then the question is, okay, well, then who's Jacob? Then they got to look all the way over here in the West and say that, oh, this is the ones that was brought over there on cargo slave ships, which means everything that these Edomites are doing in the land is biblically incorrect because, one, you're not the people, and two, that land doesn't belong to you. The dispute of the land is the land is given to the Israelites. So the true talk about Jacob and Esau is going to come up, best believe. So you got Ishmael in there, right? You got Moab talking their mess, but it all boils down to Jacob and Esau. Okay? We will be mentioned. Jacob will be mentioned. I believe it because that's what this is all about. So when the scripture says, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles, that's talking about the leadership, right? The wicked elite. They, for one, they already know this. This is why they work around the clock to try to censor us. This is why they hired one of their brethren, Vocab Malone, which I believe is an Amalekite, to also try to frustrate our purpose, because that's the whole thing. His whole issue is you guys are calling yourselves God's chosen people. And we can't allow that because this entire world establishment, right? Them people in the land of Israel today, the so-called Jews, everything they're doing is set up by a lie and it's established by a lie. Every kill, every slaughter, every bomb that they drop is for the world, to deceive the world, to believe in, like, look, we're doing this because of the Bible. But what happens when the truth gets brought out? Then everybody's going to see that this man for who he is. He is the Edomites. Right? So don't think, see, these other nations, they think like, look, you Israelites, you're irrelevant. We're just going to keep you in slavery forever. You just, we're going to put you in slave chains and put a microchip in you, and that's going to be the end of it. No, Jacob's going to be talked about because that's what this is all about. It's all about Jacob and Esau. And you have to talk about who Jacob is. And it's going to reach the gates of the nobles, which it already has. So we made enough noise to where it's reached the gates of the noble, the wicked elite. So imagine if the Lord puts the spirit on one of these world leaders to actually entertain that discussion of, actually research says that you people who call yourself Jews, you're actually you're Edomites. It actually shows that the real Jews are Negroes, black people. So that whole argument of trying to use the Bible to wipe out Amalek and say that this is our land and all that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because you're not even the real people. And man, that's going to shake things up, and that's going to really cause this man to come down with wrath. The younger brother is going to have to be mentioned. Okay, where was I going? Damn, it escaped me. Okay, it escaped me. Slakia. I remember now. Book of Obadiah. Actually, before that, Joel. As Joel, chapter 3 says, Behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that word for Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which means two words, Yahweh, and then Shaphat, the place of the Lord's judgment. Yep, two words, Yahweh and Shaphat. So the place of the Lord's judgment, Shaphat, judgment. And this is talking about the Middle East. It lines up with Ezekiel 38. This is all for Israel's sake. The World War III, the marching, the gathering of the nations, the Gog, which is Russia, building a bridge over the Euphrates River to ally Iran, to be a guardian to them. This is all for our people's sake. So we will be mentioned. We're not just on the sidelines. No, all this is for us. And that's the beauty of it, because we're like the underdog. And you know, the underdog is the one where nobody expect to win. And this is all for us. World War III is for Israel's sake. The Lord is bringing them, marching them over there to the land of Israel for Israel's sake, because those are imposters in that land. And this is all about for the true inheritance of the true owners of that land, which are the Israelites. Verse 3, and they cast lots for my people, and had given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried in your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, America, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So everything is for Israel's sake. If you jump down to verse 11, and I'll just keep going. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken it. That's going to happen when we get in the kingdom. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. This is all for Israel's sake. Everything is for Israel's sake. So we will be mentioned. I believe it. I believe the Lord's going to use one of these world leaders while these devils are trying to play victim. Nobody's believing anymore. One of the world leaders to say, yeah, well, look, we already know the history, so we already know who you really are. You're the Edomites. You're the Edomites. You are converts. The real Jews are black. And man, is that when things are going to start moving fast? Because then the whole world, because that's the point, the whole world is going to have to acknowledge Jacob and Esau, because that's what this is all about. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord Yahweh, your power, dwelling in Zion, the people, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. So this is all for Israel's sake. So make no mistake, when these nations are gathering together for war, it's for us. You understand? And the more these devils try to play victim and try to use the scriptures to justify what they're doing, right, the less people believe them. Nobody believes them anymore. Nobody believes the Most High is with them. Nobody believes what they're doing is a fulfillment of prophecy. But what will be acknowledged, what I believe, is that the Lord is going to just call them out to say, you're the Edomites. You're not really Jacob. So make no mistake, in the midst of all of this heated talk and back and forth, Jacob, we're the underdog. We will be mentioned because as this word continues to go out, the whole world is eventually going to see it. They will acknowledge the Hebrew Israelites on the mainstream, on the grand stage. Because in America, they could censor it, but wait till it hits worldwide. And these other leaders actually mention the Israelites and Jacob. Then they start to question and say, well, wait, that means you're the Edomites. You're the man of sin. You're the man of perdition. You're not the real seed. Because that's part of the prophecy as well. This man being revealed. He's going to be completely exposed. As the scripture says, make bare the leg. Everybody's going to know who he is. It won't be a shadow of doubt. This man is a man of perdition. He is not Jacob. That's 2 Thessalonians 2. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's 2. Verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you I told you these things, and now ye know that withholdeth he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of truth, that they might be saved. So we will be mentioned in the mainstream media. Eventually, Jacob will be mentioned because the end of the world is based upon Jacob and Esau, not so much Ishmael, not no other nation. It's all about Jacob and Esau, man. Okay? So stay tuned for that. Shalom.